Hi y'all, welcome to my first rendering video, rendering diamonds, color in white. Here I am just drawing out the outlines and doing the layout for my paintings. I will be doing them in gouache, also known as watercolor. Gouache is a traditional French technique for design. It used to be the preferred method for doing a lot of high jewelry and fine jewelry back in the day before you had computers and programs that help to illustrate digitally. I still love this technique because it just feels so premium and expensive, and when you show someone a drawing you did, it brings inspiration as opposed to boredom because you know that every stroke and every line was done by hand. And if you do it right, you can really make design stand out a lot more. And it's especially helpful for stuff that requires a lot of gemstones and a lot of detail. I prefer this over any other method simply because it allows me to think quickly and just commit on paper, right? There's no such thing as, oh, let me erase that line, let me erase that. So it's a very fun creative process for me in terms of when I'm creating something. I just drew these shapes just to illustrate the process of drawing. So for the white, I'm just using two colors. I'm using titanium white and then Payne's gray, which is the one I'm using right now for the facets. I'm just using that to kind of create that depth of color as opposed to just flat. So even though I'm just using two colors, you do it at different levels, and you build layers on top of each other to make it stand out. So this color is just a combination of gray and blue. I first started working with this technique a few years here in New York, and then I went over to California to the GIA Carlsbad campus, and I took a special class with Rémy Rotenier. He's a French jewelry designer trained in France and Paris, and he is just such a kind human, and I learned a lot from him. He's just kind of a master designer in terms of his technique. And if you see his drawings, they just look so realistic. So my aim as a designer when I'm drawing is to just get to his level. And also, every artist has their own touch, right? And we have something in common. He actually used to work for Tiffany back in the 90s, so we have similar stories in a way, although he was doing something completely different. But it's kind of fun to compare notes and see, oh, how was your experience and so on. So for the color diamonds, I chose a couple. So fun fact is diamonds come in every color, and the most precious ones are the ones you see here at the bottom. So you have the red, you have the blue, and then the green. Yellow, I would say, is a little more common, but still very popular. And then I drew a tiny pink one. The tiny pink one was a little trickier to draw because I couldn't really get to the facets, but I just wanted to communicate the idea of a um, moon-shaped gemstone diamond. And then here you see me adding more detail layer by layer, and it's not something you can ever be like, all right, I'm done. You choose when to be done when you're happy with the amount of detail. And yeah, I see for the colored diamonds, what I'm doing is actually going in with a transparent color. So if I did red, then I go in with a transparent base on top. And that's tricky because you don't want to smudge all your colors, so you have to do it correctly with the right size brush. And then here I'm adding little sparkles, just kind of making it seem like it's sparkling because that's what diamonds do. I wouldn't necessarily do this for other gems, but for diamond it communicates that sparkle effect. And yeah, just going back in, cleaning up. So this took me a couple hours, but um, you get to see it here in a couple minutes and get transformed from just a line drawing to a full-on render. And I could definitely spend more hours on this, but this is it for now, and that's my signature. Thanks for watching.